what is a question that if a realtor were to answer that the buyer should actually be concerned about?
Oh, I can think of several.
Oh, really?
Absolutely. There are certain questions that can sound completely reasonable to ask, especially when you're moving across country. But if a realtor or lender were to answer directly, that should automatically raise a red flag.
Oh, and that's especially true to military families that's PCSing to this area that, you're trying to learn everything before they actually get here.
Like your neighborhoods.
Yeah, you're asking about neighborhoods, you're asking about school zones and schools.
Safety.
Oh, yeah. And the commutes. The commutes are something that a lot of people, I would say ask about.
Yeah, or the people who live here.
Oh, yeah. And honestly, those are all understandable questions. Whenever you're buying a home from 1,000 miles away and you want to know as much information as you possibly can.
The problem is that some of those questions fall into areas where realtors and mortgage lenders are legally, ethically, or professionally giving opinions or advice.
Yeah, I think a lot of those are prohibited. Like we can't answer those. And here is what most people don't realize is that if a realtor or a lender is willing to answer some of those questions, that's not necessarily a sign that they're being helpful.
It could actually be a sign that they're not following the rules designed to protect you as a buyer.
Absolutely. So today we are going to be pulling back the curtain on some of these questions that realtors or mortgage lenders shouldn't answer during your PCS move.
And we'll show you where you can find reliable information instead.
Oh, yes. And by the end of this video, you are going to know exactly what questions that you should avoid and what questions that you should ask instead, that way that you can spot the professionals who are looking out for your best interest.
Because the goal isn't just finding a house.
It is making informed decisions and building a team that you can trust.
I'm Jasmin Frank with University Lending Group.
And I am Tanya Rivera with the Property Group 850.
So let's jump into the first question that gets asked all the time.
Is this a safe neighborhood?
Yes, that's a good question. Is this a safe neighborhood?
So why realtors really can't answer this question? Because of safe means different things to different people. But what a realtor can tell you is that there are resources out there that we can give you in order for you to be able to look up if that neighborhood is safe. So we can give you the Okaloosa County Sheriff's website. We can give you different websites that grade the neighborhood. So your realtor should be able to give you different resources in, that way, in order for you to find the answer that you are looking for if the neighborhood is safe, because of what I think is safe may not be what is safe for you.
Yes, absolutely. So from a lender's standpoint, one of the questions that does get asked is, can you approve me if I just don't tell you about this debt? Absolutely not. As a lender, I cannot omit any information on your application.
Oh, yeah. I would say another one for a realtor standpoint that we cannot ask, or I should say ask, that we can ask a bunch of questions, but that we can get answered is this a good area for families? So one of the things that I would tell you as your realtor is check out that neighborhood as much as you like, because I can't tell you if the neighborhood is good for families. I don't know, what you think is good for families and what I think is good for families is two completely separate, different things. So I would say go to that neighborhood and travel around different times of day. So go before school starts, go around, look and see, go during, the weekend, see if there's families outside hanging out and around, go in the evenings and look to sit there and see, go at, whenever it's completely dark outside, what is going on in the neighborhood, that way that you're really getting all of that information to help you make that decision.
Yes, you're preparing them for them to make their own opinion.
Yes, absolutely.
What's the highest income I can put on my application? It's very important to be honest when it comes to your income.
Oh, yes.
You've got to put exactly what it is you make, because I cannot approve you with income that is not there. So it's very important that you're upfront and honest when you're filling out that application.
Oh, yeah. I would say another one on the realtor side is this a wealthy neighborhood? I have been asked that before, and I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what you consider wealthy versus what I consider wealthy. So that's going to be completely two different things. So make sure that you don't ask your realtor that.
Yes. And on that same token, if you lie about your income, I can't pre-approve you for what you're truly budgeted for. So it's very important to be accurate.
Oh, yes, 1,000%.
One of those other questions that we get asked is, can you make my debt to income ratio look better? Absolutely not. What your debt to income ratio is what it is. So we will work around it and we will figure it out.
Oh, yeah. I would say that another one that a realtor should not be asked that a lot of people do is this neighborhood predominantly military? You know, I know that a lot of people want to move into a predominantly military neighborhood if they're military. So where that they've got that surrounding, family that they have in that military place. But we can't answer that because we are, what I feel like is predominantly military may not be what is predominantly military family for you.
Yes. So same for us. You can't ask us those questions. We can guide you. We can give you resources, but those are questions that you have to figure out for yourself if it works for you or not.
Another one that I feel like we get asked is there churches nearby? I can tell you to look on a Google map. I can tell you to, kind of do your research on it, but I, can't really tell you, what religion that most of the people in the area, practice at all. Religion is more of a fair housing concern versus,
Yes.
just open for anybody.
So one question I was asked recently is, do you lend to people like me? Well, what do you mean to people like me? I cannot discuss your race, religion, ethnicity, any of that. I cannot make my opinions based on any of that. I make my opinions on what your income looks like, on the process, the actual lending process, your financial standpoints. It has nothing to do with you as a person or an individual. So that's always good to keep in mind.
Oh, yes. Another question that we are not allowed to get, but I think is very, very, very important to look up is, are there any sexual offenders that are located in the neighborhood or in the surrounding areas? I definitely think that is something that you should do your research on, and your realtor should help guide you where to find this information.
Absolutely. That's a good one. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
So one of the bigger questions when we actually start the process is, will my appraisal actually value? That's a very hard question to answer because every home has different things that are being looked at when the appraiser goes in there. Well, I should take that back. They're looking at all the same things, but every home has a different value depending on the area, depending on how old it is. So until that appraisal comes back, there's no knowing if you're going to be a value or not. So I definitely can't truthfully answer that before we get those reports.
Oh, yes, 1,000%. I would say another one that I've been asked before is, what race of people live in this neighborhood? Like, what is the most common race of people that live in here? And I can't answer that. And I would probably walk away from the transaction if that is something that you asked me, because of ethically, we are not allowed to answer that. That comes from a protected class. That is a violation of real estate standards. And I would probably, definitely walk away from the transaction and leave the transaction if that was something that was asked.
Yes, that's a big one.
Yes.
Absolutely. One of the things that I do get asked once the negotiations start, do you think my seller is going to accept this offer? It is not my area or my expertise to answer that. So I will kindly and gladly refer you to your realtor because they would be the ones to be able to answer that truthfully for you.
And we can try our best, but we can't always dictate what sellers are going to do and not do. So we don't know the best thing for a realtor to do is to ask you if that is what you want to make the offer and go ahead and make the offer how that they want. So I understand, and we appreciate whenever you send them back our way than making own opinions.
Yes. That's how negotiations happen. It's how they work.
Absolutely. Another one that I get asked is the school bad? You know, whenever they're looking for areas and they ask, is the school bad? You know, I would say that would be steering, and I'm not going to be able to answer, is the school bad? I would really guide you to go look at all of those nice websites that have all of the school grades, and you can check out any of that information there as well to find those.
Yes, let them make that informed decision on their own.
Yes. Well, they kind of turn it around sometimes, and whenever they turn it around, they're like, well, would you allow your kids to go to this school? Well, my kids might already go to that school, but it's still something that I cannot answer because of my personal opinion about a school or about, what neighborhood is zoned for each of those schools, or if my child even attended a school, like that still could, be considered steering.
Yes. One of the biggest things that we face on a daily as a lender is the question of, will my rate change in the 30 days that we're doing this process? There's no telling you truly 100% what that rate is going to end at the very end, because rates fluctuate daily. It is a market change every day, even multiple times a day sometimes. It can go up in the morning, it can go down at night. It all comes down to when we lock in that rate. So as your lender, we can truly make or break this deal. So it's very important that you do your research on your lenders. Go for someone who's really going to work that rate for you, because it is up to us when we actually lock that in. So as a lender, I monitor that. I'm looking at my contracts as the rate's changing. If I see that one day has improved a lot more than the other, and we are at that point, I'm going to lock you in to guarantee you that lower rate, because I don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. So it's very hard to say. It's a market thing. We've got to keep an eye on it.
Oh, yes. I've had plenty of times where the lenders will call, hey, does your buyer want to lock in their rate? And I'm like, I don't know. Ask them. And so they call and they ask them, are you ready to lock in your rate? Because they've been watching it. So we appreciate that you're watching it to help them. That way that their monthly payment is lower than what it could be whenever it started.
Especially nowadays with this market.
Oh, yeah. So I guess another one that people ask all the time is this area up and coming? Well, what do you consider up and coming? Because of same thing before is I may think that this is up and coming because of I may have lived here my whole life. And to me, what we have here is so much better than what we had 5 years ago, 10 years ago. So do I consider it up and coming versus somebody who's coming from, Orlando or, Texas or something like that? They may not consider this up and coming. So our opinions may be different. So technically that is something that I would not be able to, answer. I would probably laugh and be like, well, I don't know. What do you consider up and coming? And kind of play it back. So that is another question that, probably should not be asked.
Yes. And on that same token, on our end, do you think my house is going to go up in value in 5 years? I couldn't tell you that.
Yeah.
There's no way to tell you what your home's going to be valued at in 5 years. That's just a question we'll just skip right over.
Oh, 1,000%. Or speaking of skipping over, whenever somebody asks me, what neighborhood should I avoid? That is one that I'm just like, I don't, really can't speak on that.
Let's talk about the weather.
I cannot, as your realtor, give you a neighborhood that you should avoid versus trying to give you exact numbers. Like, okay, so this neighborhood, has sold this fast. So, you've had 20 people move out within the first 6 months of this neighborhood, being completed. I can give you those type of numbers, or, neighborhood stats versus community stats, versus area stats as far as which houses sell faster than the other ones. But I cannot tell you which neighborhood to avoid. I mean, I could sit there and be like, make sure that you do your research on this neighborhood, because if I'm, not telling you anything about the neighborhood, but I'm really trying to prepare you and give you all of the ways that you can research all the way about it.
Absolutely. Do your due diligence. It's very important.
Oh, yeah.
So another question that we get as lenders, can I borrow money from my family and just not tell you about it? No, we need to know. Everything has to be documented. Everything needs to be, I's need to be dotted, T's need to be crossed. You can't just deposit $10,000 into your account and not tell me where it came from. It's very, very important for the process that we can document properly and that we know where your money has come from.
Oh, yes. So anybody who's hiding money in the mattresses,
put it in the bank.
I want to go ahead and put it in the bank before you apply.
Yes.
I think that that's a big question because of how many months do y'all go back?
2 months.
2 months. So if you are planning on buying a house in springtime, I would make sure that you deposit that money come January, that way that you have 2 full months of that money being in the account. That way that it is showing where it came from and that they're not questioning that at all.
Yes, because that can definitely throw your whole loan process out the window. If you wait until the very last minute and you deposit all this money, there's no way we can use it. And if you were going to be using that for a down payment or for closing costs, that could really hurt you. So it's just very important. Be prepared. Be ready. That's what I'm here for.
Oh, yes. Another question that a lot of times I get asked is, can this beam be moved or can this wall be moved? And I'm not a general contractor, so that is a question that I am ethically, I can't answer because if I do not know, I am, if I had my general contractor's license, of course I could answer that, but I don't have my general, contractor's license, so I can't tell you, yes, that wall can be removed, because honestly, I don't know. So, try to stay clear of those type of questions versus, hey, who can I ask in order to see if this wall right here can be moved, and can we do that before we make an offer, would be a better type of question that you could ask.
Absolutely. Guiding them to the right person to answer those hard questions.
Yes. Same thing with the schools, the, neighborhoods, the, just anything that you could possibly think of that, might steer them or move them or to where it's opinion based, because of realtors are not your friends. They're realtors first. And those are questions that technically cannot be answered.
Yes. And I'm your financial guru. I am here to guide you, to serve you, and to help to make this process as stress-free as possible. So just make sure to remember to look local, because most of the time we're very well versed in our area.
Yes, absolutely. Thinking of different questions and different, things that people could ask. What is the top question that you get as a lender that, you kind of are like excited about getting versus one that you're not excited about getting?
I think wanting to know, how does this process work? What can I get pre-approved for? Well, let's sit down. Let's talk. Let's go over your numbers. Let's see what we can work with. Let's make this dream come true. That is exciting. Having somebody sit down, being ready for it and being prepared for it. And even if they're not prepared for it, you being the person who can guide them into making their dreams reality.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Oh, 1,000%. Now, do you have some kind of like questions or stuff like that, like a guidebook or something that?
We do. We have a little toolkit that we send you, and it gives you all the steps, all the process, what to look forward, what to avoid, because it's very, very important to know all of those things. What can make make your deal? What can break your deal? A lot of people, especially first-time homeowners, they don't know what they're getting into. They just know they want to buy a house. And it's very important to be informed all the way through and to have those people in your corner, your realtor, your lender, walking you through it every step of the way.
Oh, yes. So if you are watching this and you would like a packet full of questionnaires that you are not allowed to ask a realtor or a lender, and that is something that you really would like to know in this process, then go ahead and comment below. And Jasmin and I would love to send you any kind of information like that kind of helps walk you through the buyer's process on this end. So I hope that you guys are liking this video, that you are going to subscribe, and don't forget to comment below. I'm Tanya Rivera with the Property Group, and
I'm Jasmin with University Lending Group.
And we hope that you stay tuned for the next video.